Hey, George, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, James. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
Fantastic.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to do this for us as we celebrate Black History Month. So, with that being said, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. And the first question is going to be, what does Black History Month mean to you?
James, I really appreciate you giving me an opportunity to meet with you and discuss this subject. I would tell you from my perspective, Black History Month means it's a time for us to celebrate our culture's rich heritage and to appreciate what our ancestors have accomplished for us and for me. You know, when you look back over the years, our culture, there's been a lot of struggles. And I think as we come upon this month on an annual basis, it's time for us to reflect and to really, as I mentioned, appreciate the struggles and the efforts that were made prior by our ancestors to get us to this point. So that's what it really means for me.
Awesome. That's great. So this is a month to celebrate and preserve stories. So what is a story from your family history that you would want to preserve?
Oh, that's a great question, James. I would tell you when I look at my family history, both of my parents were immigrants. They immigrated to this country from South America. I'm part of a large family, and my father, he was an accountant. And as you know, we come from up north, James, New York in particular. And my dad used to go into the city on a daily basis because he worked as an accountant for one of the big department stores in the city. But when I look at that, he really set an example as far as a work ethic for me and how to stay focused. I often tell my wife that my father had the ability to sit in a family room. Everybody would be watching television, and he would be over there in the corner reading a book. He was always reading, but it set an example as to how to stay focused, how to be diligent, and how to be a leader when it comes to raising a family. And I really appreciated that fact.
Wow, that's great. Wow, what a rich history you have already. So one of the things that I wanted to ask as well was, what is your connection to the town of Eatonville?
That's an interesting question too, James. I would tell you my connection to the town of Eatonville probably goes back, I would say, almost 18 years ago when I relocated to the Orlando area because of a job transfer. And one of the individuals that I was able to meet recommended the Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church as a church that I might want to take my family to. And I would tell you from day one, we really had a connection with that church. And obviously, as one of the main churches in Eatonville, we had a connection to Eatonville through the church. So that's really how we kind of connected with Eatonville. And then henceforth and fast forwarding, I would tell you, we got to find out a lot about Eatonville's rich history and its legacy, being the oldest African-American community in the United States. So that's how we were able to connect with Eatonville through the church, Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church.
Wow. And so with that being said, I know that ties you to the credit union. So I would say, what makes you passionate about Unity of Eatonville Credit Union, and why did you take on this responsibility?
That's another great question, James. I would tell you what makes me really passionate about the Unity of Eatonville Federal Credit Union is that it fills a void. When you look at the community of Eatonville, there has never been a financial institution in this community. And if the residents of Eatonville wanted to bank with a financial institution, they had to leave the town of Eatonville and go to the neighboring communities to do their banking, which I felt was almost like an injustice. When you look at how they were being neglected. And because of that, there's always been concerns and issues when it comes to developing a program of building generational wealth. There's never been access to money, and because they didn't have access to money, they had problems and concerns. So I would tell you, that's what makes me really passionate about this credit union, is because we're filling a void. We're going to be able to give the residents of the community of Eatonville an opportunity to improve their financial literacy, and ultimately develop a program of improving their generational wealth for their families.
Wow. And so you put it so nice there. So what do you see, what do you think, or what is your vision you would have for Eatonville's future then, as we end our conversation?
I would tell you what I would like to see from my perspective as a vision for the community of Eatonville is that it becomes a vibrant community where the inhabitants of this community see growth, and they and their families become prosperous because of rising property values and the strategic decisions they make now for the future. So I see the community really growing, prospering, and becoming an attractive place where their offspring, their residents' offspring, want to live here and have and raise their families here. That's what I see as the ultimate vision for the community of Eatonville.
That's great. George, thank you so much for giving us some of your time today. We so appreciate you and all that you do for the credit union. So thank you again. And I know we'll talk again very soon here. All right. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you too, James. You take care.